And this first one is from Iori666 and says, AJ is really the problem here. Thus, this ownership has made him untouchable in terms of responsibility when it comes to the result of this team. Melvin is a good manager.
Job responsibility, AJ Preller, secure the players. Job responsibility, Bob Melvin. You run the clubhouse, you run the dugout, you run the games. Yes, I understand about analytics. AJ, I think, has done a good job in some areas. I think he's done a negligent job in a bunch of areas. There's a lot of criticism from all these articles that were posted that we talked about last week. A lot of articles about his communication skills. Peter Seidler owns this thing. He has funded this thing. He needs to get these two guys to divide the power. And in essence, if I were king, AJ, go get players. AJ, stay out of the clubhouse and stay out of the dugout. You have a right to give your manager all the metrics, the analytics, but it's his game, it's his lineup card, etc. Don't know if that's going to happen, but that's what I think should happen.
So back in your radio days, did you ever have executives kind of breathing down your neck, telling you what to do and how to work your job?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
I mean, no one likes that.
No, my whole thing was, I apologize in advance. Scoreboard, baby.
Yeah.
Look at what I've accomplished in ratings and revenue for my stations. Don't have somebody from freaking San Antonio or Tampa coming in there and telling me what I should and should not talk about. He doesn't know the market. I know my market. That's why I stopped reading memos and going to staff meetings.
Okay.
How'd that work out? Okay, next question.
Okay, moving on down the list here. And this is from 4RXLA. Charger defense state will go away. What? Chargers defense stats. Okay, my bad. Will go way up after the Raiders' Devontae Adams only offense hangs only 10 points on them.
I concur with you. Now, the only idea is if they can run Josh Jacobs. And by the way, last I checked, Bolts haven't played good run defense in about 3 years. If they can make it a ball control game, bleed the clock, and then score some points and keep Justin Herbert off the field, maybe that changes the chemistry of the game. But Justin Herbert is so good, and the Raider defense is so weak. Raiders have a really fierce pass rush, but Max Crosby can't play 48 minutes. I think the Chargers should win this, and they better win this because somebody's going to be 1-3 by Sunday night. Somebody's going to be in big trouble.
Imagine if the Chargers lost this. I mean, do you think Spanos would fire Staley mid-season? Because this is a disgrace what's happened so far.
Well, as I say, they have the 31st ranked defense in the league and the 32nd worst pass defense in the league.
Yeah.
From a head coach who supposedly has defensive credentials. But you're a Charger fan. See what happens. You're a Raider fan. Be ready to participate also. Go ahead, John. Next question.
Okay, this next one's from John, and he says, the Padres' future depends upon the health of Peter Seidler. If he recovers, he wants to win and run a championship team. If he has to step down, then the Padres revert to a small market organization.
Well, it'll be interesting to see because Seidler Equity, which is his business venture, co-funds this franchise, has input into the operation of the franchise, and I was told we'll have one of their lawyers at the Monday end of season evaluation meeting. I think Seidler likes these two guys. I think he wants them to work together, but he may have to lay down the law as to what AJ's responsibility is and what Bob Melvin is supposed to do. I don't know how you heal the wounds of kind of what's developed over the last calendar year. I think that I had somebody tell me, as a player agent, said, the biggest problem in that clubhouse right now is distrust. The distrust of who we are in this clubhouse and what's going on upstairs. Mm-hmm. And if it shouldn't be that way, it should be, what's the phrase, pulling the rope all in the same direction.
Yeah.
I don't get that sense at all with Padre baseball. So Peter Seidler has a real challenge ahead to solve this issue because I just think there's been a complete collapse of the communication line between what AJ's job is, what Bob's job is, and why is AJ's fingerprints all over everything.
Well, I remember when the new ownership group came in and Ron Fowler was in the number one seat, they talked about having this continuity, this consistency, and they talked about the Steelers as a model. And they said, okay, we're going to go hire a president, and they hired Mike D. And then we're going to get the GM, and then we're going to get the manager. And their vision was it was going to continue long term. But it seems they just can't find that consistency. So I'm just curious. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that meeting on a Monday and just to hear what's going on, because we only get part of the story, and we get it filtered through the mouths of the players and other management people and the media, but you're never really sure what the truth is.
Well, you never will be. It doesn't matter whether you're talking Major League Baseball and the Padres, or you're talking about the crisis within the Chargers organization, or what's going on in Laker land, et cetera. You never get the full story. That only happens in the inner circle of the people that have to make the decisions. But at the end of the day, this team underachieved. Period, exclamation point. And then at the end of the season, it was kind of shredded by significant injuries to key core players. But first 130 games of the season, this thing underachieved. And there's no way to sugarcoat that.
No.
We're not going to sales pitch you that everything is beautiful just because you beat all these last place teams the last 2 weeks of the season. So they've got to solve the chemistry issue, front office to clubhouse to dugout.
Oh, but 3 games left and we're still alive, right?
Ever the optimist out in left field. Next question, John.
Okay, let's go to Kenny. And he says, hey, when will the Bolts give Isaiah Spiller some quality playing time and see what the kid can do?
Well, he's gotten some snaps, but he hasn't broken a run yet. He's probably had maybe 10 to 12 carries in the first 3 games of the season. Of course, with Eckler having been out, Josh Kelly's become the heavy guy, but Spiller has gotten snaps. I'll give Spiller credit. When he has been in there as the replacement of Josh Kelly, he has stuck his nose in there and blitz blocking and has done a good job. And Josh Kelly's done a really good job stepping into the hole and stopping blitzes against Justin Herbert. I don't know. This is weird because of the way the calendar falls. I don't know if I were the Chargers that I would play Eckler this weekend. And the Raiders are so bad, I think the Chargers can beat him with Justin Herbert's arm. Mm-hmm. And they have a bye week next week. Okay. If I were King, I would sit Eckler 1 more week, and then you have the whole bye week. So he's going to do 2 more weeks of real intense therapy and get him back. Because if you bring him back against the Raiders and he gets hurt again, or he doesn't hold up, now you got a longer problem with the rest of the schedule. So that's what I would do, because I think you can trust Josh Kelly to lug it, and obviously Keller and Spiller have both shown that they can blitz block and have kind of held up in that area. And Justin Herbert is Justin Herbert. And you're playing the Raiders, who I don't think have any defense at all. Well,
do you think Garoppolo is going to play the whole game? I mean, who was the other guy? Was it Hoyer?
Brian Hoyer, who had been in New England. He's been there 38. He's 38 years old.
That's amazing.
Former starter Houston, former starter Cleveland, journeyman at best. But I don't think that they beat the Chargers with Hoyer. Garoppolo, he took all the snaps today. He's actually 70 snaps in a Thursday workout. He took 35. I think Hoyer took 35. So they'll have both of them prepared, but I think they're a much better chance with Garoppolo as a starting quarterback. But they've got to find a way, A, to move the ball and score, and B, to keep Justin Herbert off the field. And I think the road they have to travel is Josh Jacobs. And Jacobs had 1,800 all-purpose yards last year, and he's only been a shell of himself because of this long contract holdout that he had.
Yeah, now show me the money,
On we go.
On we go. This is from Padres News. He says, this is the best Padres YouTube channel.
I agree with that comment. Now, everybody does it differently, and that's fine. I have my sources, and I spend half my day networking with people who cover a lot of different teams. So I swap information. I ask for assessments. I deal not only with media guys. I have relationships with some player agents. I use as sounding boards. I don't believe everything that everybody tells me, and none of the media guys do. And I mean, it's quite a story, though, that's been uncovered here. And the fact that there were 32 people who gave those 2 websites anonymous comments, and the fact that the Padres aren't standing up and screaming at the media like this is fabricated, this is fake news, leads me to believe there's a significant chemistry problem in that clubhouse.
Yeah, I mean, the whole anonymous quote, usually you just dismiss it.
No, you can't do that when you're in the media. No, if you trust the person that's giving you the quote. And the fact that this came from players or ex-players or staffers or ex-staffers who were here and left and went to work for other clubs, there's a lot of those people out there.
Well, but I mean, as a reader, if I hear an anonymous quote, I dismiss it because it's not credible. Now, granted, the media person may have been legitimately talking to that person, and they, it's kind of off the record as long as you remove my name. But to your other point, though, they have massive problems that they've got to solve. And it's just so heartbreaking as a Padre fan, where we finally thought this was the year and we were going to have this great run, and it's just been another disaster. And meanwhile, the freaking Dodgers are just rolling, and it's just like we can't get a break in San Diego.
Dumbass co-host of this podcast said they were going to go 162. How'd that work out?
Yeah, I was with you. I was thinking, oh, maybe more than that.
Next question.
Okay, so there's another comment from Iori. Says, will you guys be taking calls at some point?
Well, anything's possible. I'm not real good on technology, and up until about an hour ago, John was great at technology, and then the power went out here in our Dixieline studios. But yeah, maybe that's something we'll consider down the road. We're working on a lot of different things, but there's only so many hours on the day to get this stuff done.
Can we get some social media comments in here?
Go ahead.
Let's get a few in. And let's go to, this is a common comment. This is talking about the Aztecs and why was no one there. And this is from Stuart, and he says, tickets were way too expensive. Minimum $63 plus $30 parking plus gas, wear, tear, $30 plus food. It would cost $150 for just one person to go to an Aztec game. Plus, Ticketmaster fouls up my Android and PC, and there's really no way to buy physical tickets any longer. So I stay at home now. I had 2 season tickets last year, but the Arizona Heat fiasco game turned my daughter from going to any game ever. I simply can't afford these prices for a lousy, unentertaining team.
San Diego State has misplayed this entire launch of the stadium just terribly. You know, and some of their people have whined about all these fans. They just cry about everything. Well, at the end of the day, product has been questionable on the field. Obviously, the 1 o'clock games have been a bit of a blow. Even the 4:30 games have been a bit of a blow. But the pricing is absurd. And when I was told that the Boise State tickets went from $100 to $200. And then there was a surcharge of 20% on top of the tickets. And then you add in parking. And if you want to have dogs and brew or whatever, it's just an expensive night out, unless there's an emotional link. And I asked the question again and again and again. Where are the alumni? How come the alumni, that's your school, you aren't a football fan or just don't care? Where's the alumni? Where's the damn student body? Because they get the game for free, and they don't even go to pick up the tickets to get in the game to go for free. So it's just a deep-seated problem. And the price tags that San Diego State, as good a job as I think J.D. Wicker has done, the fact that his people put these price tags on these tickets, it's just absurd.
Yeah, I mean, it's just way too expensive. But remember, they weren't going to the Aztec basketball games, and then Fisher came in and built a winning program, and now they're selling out or close to selling out every game. So I still believe if they win, the people will come, and then they'll be on the bandwagon, just like the Padre fans are. But I'll tell you what, that stadium, I went, a few weeks ago, the Idaho State game, it was great. I mean, what a beautiful facility. And I mean, I just really hope they have success there.
Could be rocking, should be rocking, is not rocking. And that's on San Diego State's leadership, their marketing people, etc. A couple more here.
Okay, let's go here. A little Chargers-Vikings comments from Richie. And he says, O'Connell and Cousins bailed him out by not spiking it. Cousins could have had 3 shots at the end zone instead of 1. Bad coaching all around. O'Connell saved Staley's behind.
Well, there's no doubt there were mistakes made. And in his Monday press conference, Kevin O'Connell said, there were communication problems, but common sense says spike the bloody football. Give yourself a chance to call 2 plays over 26 seconds. You get 2 shots to go to the end zone, and they did not do it. And like I said on our Monday bonus podcast, these teams practice the end of the game scenarios. And I sat there with 1:20 to go, and I watched the Viking offensive lineman just wandering around after the play. The ball had been set down. You're supposed to be in your 3-point stance. What are you doing? Where's the football intelligence here? And then, obviously, O'Connell should have just given Kirk Cousins the spike sign, or Kirk Cousins should have gone to the line of scrimmage and spiked the football. But the whole thing was terribly mishandled. And a situation you could have won. So they go to 0-3, and I think they play Carolina this week. What if they lose that game? What if they're 0-4? So, this could turn out to be a miserable season. And these games are so hard to win, and when you have a chance to win it at the 6-yard line and you don't get the plays off, bad. That's a bad scenario.
It is bad. But a lot of these guys, like Staley, like O'Connell, they came up as coordinators, defensive, offensive coordinator. When you're the head coach, man, pressure on you. And right there at crunch time at the end of the game to make those decisions and manage the clock is not easy. But we see someone like with experience like Mike Tomlin, and that guy is smooth. He knows exactly how he's going to play it. So this is part of the learning curve for these young guys. But as fans and as a franchise, we can't afford to have them learning on the job doing this thing. You need like some support. He needs to have a wingman that just talks about clock management, for O'Connell, and then another wingman being Staley's ear on these BS fourth down calls.
But he's got a 13-year veteran quarterback in Kirk Cousins who's seen everything. Just take control of the play, and you can't communicate with the sideline because of the noise? No problem. Spike the ball. Stops the clock.
There you go.
Or you go to line of scrimmage and you do this, and you get the fans to shut up. It was such a fiasco at the end. Okay, how about a couple more?
Well, just real quick on this one, I just checked Instagram. The video is now at 105,000 views, and we just posted it last night.
Last night at 10 o'clock on Instagram.
Okay, let's go here. Let's talk a little bit about Manny and the Padres leadership. This is from Steve-O, and he says, remember the thrown bat to third base, the Donaldson tag, the Pedroia Xander slides, the drop bat at the coach's feet, or the catcher's feet, the contact with first baseman's feet while running to first. Hey, Manny, it's not everyone else. It's you. And hey, you got 10 more years of this San Diego. Best of luck. I'm tired of blaming Bob. Players need to be held accountable. But how do you hold these players accountable? Talk bad about them?
What's on the back of his baseball card? Manny. That guy obviously keeps a history of Manny's faux pas along the way. He's had a really good season. I mean, he grinds and he plays hard. I don't like the persona. I think there's a clubhouse issue as it relates to his leadership. I was told there's an issue between him and Bogarts. It was back to Baltimore-Boston days. That we need leadership in the clubhouse. And I don't know whether that's going to come from Melvin, but if Melvin has been interfered with by Preller, that's a problem. Maybe they solve that problem Monday and it becomes a different clubhouse. It becomes Melvin's clubhouse with the veteran players following his lead. But, this has to change. That being said, there's just too much talent to have this be a throwaway season. And I would give everybody one more year. And at that meeting on Monday, if I were king, I am telling AJ, you're taking care of your job, and your job is right this way. And if you're Melvin, you're taking care of your job, and your job starts in the clubhouse, goes to the dugout, and all the game activity. And these players, it's your responsibility to do what that manager tells you. And if Melvin needs to be tough on these guys publicly, then he needs to be tough on these guys. And if they can't take it, tough crap. You're making $20 to $30 million a year. Deal with it. And then it's up to AJ to go figure out how they're going to handle the budget and who leaves, who stays, how he replaces them if there's a mass exodus. So it's going to be a really interesting offseason. Hey, listen, we hope you have enjoyed our podcast, power shortage outage notwithstanding. Invite you to do a couple of things. One, subscribe to everything we're doing on our podcast. Two, go to my website, leehacksawhamilton.com, because I write a ton of stuff every day. And three, share with all your friends. Tell them who we are, what we're doing, regardless of what their favorite sport or team is. John, it's been fun, even with a power outage. I've never seen John move like this. He looked like an option quarterback. The color in his face, he went all white. He was diving under the tables trying to figure out where are we, why did we go off in the middle. It was really different. But he got us back on the air. That's pretty doggone good. And our podcast is brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Center Stores, 9 locations in San Diego. Build it, fix it. Guarantee this fall you will enjoy it. Our thanks again to Dixieline. John, enjoy the great sports weekend. We'll see you come bonus Monday, and I'm going to be on the road, so we're going to be doing a little bit different podcast on Monday.
Yeah, so again, this weekend, if the Padres can sweep the White Sox, then they'll finish over 500, and that's a small victory.
Hey, have yourself a great sports weekend. Thanks for being with us on Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast apps. For more content, go to leehacksawhamilton.com.